Hi, I'm Gordon Bobbin. I'm the HSIE coordinator at De La Salle Revesby, and this video is just to demonstrate to you some of the ways that you can use Google Sites in the classroom and also in your school in general, and also just to show you some of the ways that you can use Google Sites to integrate a lot of the other Google apps that we use, just a way of bringing all those apps together in the one platform for the benefits obviously of for your staff and for your students. So the first thing I'll start with is the page that you can see here. This website here is the HSIE website. So this would be the home page that students would go to if they are trying to get onto one of the HSIE pages. And you can see there's quite a few things that we've been able to add to this page to help with the students and help with their learning. So you can add things like essay help, exam and study tips, tips on how to reference, as well as other links like the DLS Cloud Share and other quick links that they might use quite regularly, like the daily notices, the different year group pages, their assessments page, links to the Board of Studies, Squirk, Pearson, so other resources that they would use frequently. But more importantly, the main thing with this page is taking them to the subject-specific pages that they might need to go to. You can see all the junior subjects here and the senior subjects along there. And I have to thank Jason Ranieri for the work that he did in getting all these images and pictures together to help me with this too. But just to show you now how one of these might look, so as an example, if we were to look at Year 7 history, you would see this would be the page the students come to, and within here having a Google site just enables you to put all the information on there that the students may need to access. So you have things like course information, any specific announcements relating to the subject, and in this case we've got those announcements popping up there on the home page. So for example, you can see here that they recently had a source study, a source exam. So a study guide was put out, and I suppose this is one of the first benefits of using Google Docs and using Google Sites, the ability to integrate them in this fashion. So this Google Doc here with their exam revision and study guide was able to be just embedded there, so all the students had access to it. If we go back up to the top, the subjects, all the subjects would have these features, things like a calendar, which shows when assessment tasks would be due, any excursions or field trips that might be coming up. There's a rundown of the different topics that they'll be studying. There's assessment tasks, so the actual assessments themselves will be posted there so that the students have access to them. And also they can complete their evaluations for each unit, get other information about excursions, and as well as other resources that you can see here. And then from here, the students would then go, as you can see on the left, you have these tabs or these links to the specific classes. So depending on what class they're in, students could click on one of those links, and that would take them now to another site which is more specific to just the students in that class, and that would be run by the teacher. So to show you an example, class 7-1, which is my class, they could click on there, and that would take them to this site. And this site here is just for them. It wouldn't be shared with the whole Year 7 group. It would only be shared with the students in my class, because it's obviously much more personal and much more specific to them. So on here is where I'd have details of each of the lessons, homework, all that sort of thing. So you would find that in here, the topics and the lessons. Clicking on one of those will take you to that, as well as the student notebooks. So if I was to click on there, that would bring me to this, and it shows me each of the students' online notebook. Of course, when the students click on there, they can only have access to their own, but me being the teacher, I have access to all of them. Very similar to what Teacher Dashboard would now enable you to do. I did this using a script called Doctopus, but Teacher Dashboard does a very similar thing. In fact, probably does it a lot better and a lot more efficiently now that we have that, where it makes multiple copies of the same document personalised to each of the students. But this is what we used before Teacher Dashboard came along. Just to go back to the site though, just to show you some other features of using the Google Sites. So you've seen already, things like announcements that can be made for the class. So in this case, the most recent announcement was in relation to a research task they were doing, and I just simply embedded the spreadsheet here so that they each knew what topic they were researching. But I suppose that the real key to this is in the lessons. So I'll take you to one as an example. So if we were to click on Medieval Europe, students would come to this page here, and they would see here that all the different lessons have been posted, and I even include when the work for those lessons is due, so that they know when they have to have their work done by. And within each of these lessons is where you can embed some of the other Google apps that you might use. So again, just as an example, I'll take you to lesson 8, which is a lesson that they had on castles. Now, for this particular lesson, I had a few presentations. They were PowerPoints originally that I then converted to Google presentations. And the purpose of that, of course, was just so that I could embed them then right into the site. So as well as going through these in class, the students have access to these and they can reread over them in their own time or go through them for homework. All the information is there in front of them that they need, and all in the one spot. We scroll down further, so there's another image here that I wanted to include, so it's just a matter of pasting that image in, another PowerPoint as well that I wanted them to read over and look at in order to complete the tasks. And the tasks I just put in straight under here, so there was the instructions of what they needed to do. There was also some reading from the textbook that I wanted them to do. And again, one of the great things with Google Sites is the ability just to cut and paste and put everything there. So rather than them having to go to a book and look up the page, or in a lot of the cases today, the textbook might be on a PDF, which would mean that they would have to, flick from one screen to the other and go back and forth. It's easy just to cut and paste what you need, stick it there on the website, and that way everything the students need to complete these given tasks is all here in front of them. They don't need to scroll anywhere else, they don't need to go to another page or anything like that. So one of the great benefits of using Google Sites for your classroom there. Here is just another little benefit of not only using Google Sites, but some of the other Google apps and how you can integrate and use them all together. So in this case, this was a follow-up lesson to that lesson on castles. Here we were looking at how castles were attacked and defended. And what I wanted the students to do was watch a couple of short YouTube videos which explain the attacking and the defending of the castles. So while they watched them, rather than have the students write down notes in their book, as might be the traditional way of doing something like this, where you watch a video and take down notes, in this case I used Google Forms to do this. So the Google form was embedded next to the video, and as the students watched the video, we watched it as a class, they would just type in their points or their notes here one at a time. And the great thing about this was that as well as embedding the form, I would also then embed the spreadsheet where the responses would go to, and I would embed that underneath, so that as the students submitted each of their forms, all their responses came up here in the spreadsheet. And the advantage of this, of course, was that unlike when they may have taken the notes down in their book, they would have just been limited to their own notes, the notes that they got. And if they happened to miss something during the video, or maybe took down something incorrectly because they were busy writing one note and listening to another, in this case they've got access now to all the notes of all the students in the class. So hopefully if there was something that they missed or didn't get down, surely one of the other 29 students would hopefully have got it. So they're not limited now to just the notes that they took. They have access to the notes from all the students that were taken from those videos. And from there, they can then use those notes to write a structured paragraph or a more structured response about how the castles were attacked and how they were defended. So just by using Google Sites, you can bring together so many different things. You can bring together the video and the use of the Google Forms and the spreadsheet. And again, it's all centralized, it's all in the one spot, and it's very easy for the students to access and, in this case, to complete a given task. What I'd like to show you now is some similar type uses, but in this case, looking at a website set up for senior students. So in this case, my HSC Legal Studies class. So you've seen how you might use a site for the primary students. This is looking at the senior subject. Some of it's very similar in the sense you'll see here, in this topic is under human rights, and it's looking at a contemporary issue of human trafficking and slavery. So they had a few different lessons on this, as well as a topic test. And there's a few different ways that Google Sites enables you to get this information across. So in this first lesson you'll see here, with the senior classes, I structure the lessons a lot more than I would with the juniors. Make it very clear what syllabus dot points the lesson is covering and referring to, what the reading is they need to do in order to complete the tasks. So in this case there was some textbook reading, but there was also this document here on myths and realities. So the beauty of having a Google document that I could embed that document here on the web page, so it was very easy for the students to read and access while they were then completing the tasks that were given for the lesson. Another example is this lesson here, where there were some images that I wanted to embed. So again, by having Google Sites, I was able to embed those images. This one here is more of a shock value, I guess. But other images here just showing the spread of human trafficking and slavery around the world and some of the other important statistics. So having Google Sites just enables you to embed those things like that. Again, the use of Google videos. Google Sites makes that much easier to integrate. A couple of videos here I wanted the students to watch as part of the reading for this unit. So I was able to embed those clips for this lesson. And in this lesson here, again, just showing the benefits of being able to embed Google Docs within the Google site. So what the students needed to read was embedded here. They could read through that at the same time of looking at what tasks they needed to complete. Probably the best two ways of integrating some of these apps together. This is one of them, using Google Forms for a multiple choice test. So at the end of the unit, the students had a little topic test on what they learnt, and using Google Forms is great for this. There's a script that you've probably heard of called Flubaroo, which enables you to automatically mark the results, and if the students put their email address in, it even enables you to email the results back out to the students along with all the answers. And so again, by having all the lessons and the work on a Google site, you can easily embed that Google form there for the students to complete, and then they get their results emailed back out to them. So that's a great tool to use. And the second one is this. Again, it's using Google Forms in a little bit of a different way though. In this situation, I've got the actual questions that the students need to complete in the Google form. So the students would type their responses into it, and in this case I've actually put the reading they needed to do from their textbook, pasted that in there for them, so they don't need again to go back and forth from a textbook or another PDF. Everything they need to answer those questions is right there for them. It's just a matter of scrolling up and down. But the great thing about them putting their responses in a Google form means that I can do this, which is where you embed the spreadsheet at the bottom, and their answers to each of the questions would come up underneath here. And this is a really great thing, especially for the seniors, in terms of collaborative work and peer assessing. So when the students submit their responses, they can compare their own answers to what some of the other students are writing, and they really gain a lot of great learning from this, by seeing what they've done and what other students have done differently, and then recognising possibly where they may have lost a mark or why they may get a different mark than someone else. And that's what that colour coding here is all about. That's just my way of showing them that they've answered the question well. If it's green, it means it's exceptionally well. If it's left grey, then that means they know that they haven't quite answered it all the way and there's still a bit of work to do. So just to wrap up, that's just a few simple ways that you can integrate a lot of these Google apps within Google Sites.